Hello, this is Carlos from Freedomtax Accounting. I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. It is Thursday, June 11th. It is late at night, but we really wanted you guys to have the latest information on the PPP program. If you have been following the PPP program, you know that this program has been in constant change. So it is very important that you know that whatever I am discussing today can change tomorrow. So that's why it is very important that you subscribe to our channel so you always have the latest information about the PPP program. Okay, so two things happened today. The SBA came out with a new PPP application form, and they also came out with the new final interim rule. Okay, and those are the things that we are going to discuss in this video. Okay, for those of you who don't know us, we are an accounting firm here in Florida, but we are a group of 4 companies. We also have an immigration law firm, we have a real estate company, and we also have an insurance and financial planning company. We are a group of professionals with more than 20 years of experience where we can help you in many, many ways. Now, you may ask yourself, where can I find all these updates to the PPP program? You basically go to the US Treasury website. Let me show you real quick. If you go to the US Treasury website, this will be the home page, okay? If you click on this red bar here, you are taken to where they have all the latest information about the PPP program and also the EIDL program. So this is what we usually at Freedom Tax, we go to this website a couple of times a day to see if something has changed. And if something has changed, they usually put the date on the side. So here you can see that today, June 11th, they came out with the new application form. And also today, June 11th, they came out with the new interim final rule. So every time they come out with new guidelines. In the interim final rule is where they confirm the changes. Okay. Now, this is the new um, PPP application form. It is very similar to the application before. There are some minor tweaks. I'm just going to highlight some of the changes we've noticed compared to the last application. One thing that we noticed is that in the formula to calculate your PPP loan amount, they are now adding your EIDL advance, meaning that it is confirming that whatever you got in the EIDL advance, eventually it will not be forgiven in your PPP loan amount. It will reduce your PPP forgiveness amount. Okay, so this is more or less the same that in the past application. Now here this is also in the last application, but I wanted to highlight this because a lot of people just signs these application forms and they don't know what they're signing off to. So it is very important for you to know that you are certifying whatever you are signing off in this application. And you have to remember that if you do get the PPP funds, you just can't use the funds in whatever you want. And it says it here, where it says the SBA loan proceeds will be used only for business-related purposes, and you have to use them in specifically with the laws of the PPP rules. One thing that a lot of people didn't know of is that to the extent feasible, you are certifying that you will only purchase American-made equipment and products. So you need to keep this in mind because remember, the SBA may audit whatever you are using the funds for. So you can get into trouble if you don't follow the rules, okay? And once again, you are certifying that the funds will be used to retain workers, maintain payroll, or make mortgage interest payments, lease payments, and utility payments as specified under the PPP program rule, okay? And this is the part that none of us like. We're saying that if you don't follow the rules, you may go to prison or get very hefty fines from the federal government. So this is the new application form, and this is the new interim final rule, okay? I am going to put a link to both these documents on the description so you can read them for yourself. So if you are a nerd like us, then you can read it entirely for yourself. But I'm just going to cover and very quickly go through the highlights so you don't have to read it completely. Okay? So basically, it is confirming that on June 5th, the Flexibility Act was passed. It is going to amend the CARES Act. If we scroll down, they always give you like a super long summary of the things that have happened. Once again, it is here confirming that the Flexibility Act changed the maturity of the loan from a 2-year loan to a 5-year loan. It is here confirming that the PPP program, the last day will be June 30th. So this is very important because today is June 11th. So if you haven't applied for PPP yet, time is running out. And this was very good to know because if you read the Flexibility Act, it said in a lot of places that the safe harbor date that ended June 30th was extended to December 31st. But that did not apply for when the PPP program ended. So here it is confirming that you have until June 30th to apply for your PPP loan. Now we can continue scrolling down, and basically here, once again, it is confirming that the maturity date has been changed to a 5-year loan. Now, let's dig deeper into this so you get some details. It says here on the CARES Act, it says that on the Flexibility Act, excuse me, it says that the maturity date was changed to a minimum of 5 years. So a lot of people started saying, so can it be more? Because on the original CARES Act, the PPP loan was 10 years. Then they changed it to 2 years, and now they're changing it to 5 years. But because the Flexibility Act said that it set a minimum of 5 years, a lot of people were thinking that maybe it can be longer. On a paragraph that we're going to discuss later, we're going to see that no, it's 5 years. Okay. Now, it does says that the 5 years are for loans made on or after the date of the enactment of the Flexibility Act. So the Flexibility Act was confirmed on June 5th. So what this means is that if your PPP loan was approved before June 5th, that is still a 2-year loan. It will not automatically change to a 5-year loan. But when we read further down, see, it says for loans made before June 5th, the maturity is 2 years. However, borrowers and lenders may mutually agree to extend the maturity of such loans to 5 years. So if you got your PPP loan before June 5th, you have to call your lender or your bank and tell them that you want to change your loan to a 5-year loan. That will not be automatic. So it's very important that you do that, okay? Here, basically, it's confirming that it's going to be a 5-year loan. They say that it is sufficient. Here, basically, they are confirming that the borrower must submit the forgiveness application within 10 months after the end of your loan forgiveness covered period. Okay, so now you can choose two covered periods. You can choose the original 8 weeks, or you can choose to use the funds in 24 weeks. That's your covered period. Once your covered period is over, you have 10 months to apply for forgiveness with your lender. Okay? And it's basically saying in a later paragraph that if you have not submitted forgiveness within those 10 months, after those 10 months, you must start making payments to the loan. Okay? What else? We already covered this. Okay. Application. Once again, here it is confirming. See, if you do not submit your lender or a loan forgiveness application within 10 months after the end of the loan forgiveness period, you must begin paying principal and interest after that period. Okay, so that is very important. They also talk about loan forgiveness. And this is where a lot of people, this is the big change. It is confirming that the borrower shall use at least 60% of the funds for payroll costs to receive loan forgiveness. Okay. Now, there was a little bit of confusion because when you read the Flexibility Act, it says that in order for the borrower to apply for forgiveness, they needed to use at least 60% towards payroll. So a lot of people interpreted that as a cliff, meaning that if you did not use the 60% for payroll, you maybe did not apply for any forgiveness. So here they are confirming that that's not the case, that there's no 60% cliff. Okay, it's basically saying that if you use less than 60% of the funds for payroll, it will affect your forgiveness amount. Okay, and basically they give you an example. Okay, here. Okay, the example is in writing, but I put it in a PowerPoint so it is easier to understand. So this is the 60% rule, that it says that at least 60% of the loan forgiveness amount having used for payroll costs. For example, let's say you got a PPP loan for $100,000. Okay, so that means that you need to for the $100,000 to be eligible for complete forgiveness, you need to use at least 60%. So that's $60,000. So you need to use at least $60,000 in order for the complete 100,000 to be eligible for forgiveness. But let's say that you did not use the $60,000 for payroll, that you only used $54,000 for payroll. Okay, so now you need to take whatever amount you used for payroll, in this case is the $54,000, and you will divide it by 0.60. And this gives you $90,000. So now this is your new total amount of forgivable funds. So you got $100,000, but now the maximum amount that you can get forgiven is $90,000. So meaning that there are $10,000 that will not apply for forgiveness. So that's the way the 60% rule applies. Okay, so if we continue scrolling down, It confirms what you can use the PPP loans for, and none of this has changed. Basically, it does confirm basically that here that if you got the EIDL loan, not the grant, remember, if you got the PPP loan and you also got the EIDL grant, whatever grant money you got will get refinanced into the PPP loan, and that will not be forgiven. But let's say that you got the PPP loan and you also got the EIDL grant, okay? So it is confirming that you cannot use the PPP funds and you cannot use the EIDL funds at the same time for payroll. So in the covered period, if you have both PPP and EIDL funds, in the covered period, the PPP for payroll, you can only use the PPP funds. If you use the EIDL loan funds for payroll during the covered period, it's saying you will need to refinance your EIDL loan into the PPP loan. So you don't want to do that. Okay. So what else? It also says once again that not more than 40% of the loan proceeds may be used for non-payroll costs. And basically that's it. They're basically confirming a lot of the things that came out on the press release that came out on Monday, but today they came out with the official interim final rule. Okay. Um, Now those are the new changes to the PPP program. But guess what? As we speak, there are some senators that they are pushing for more changes to the PPP program. Okay. Now, there are some senators, and this idea is getting traction in the Senate. They basically want that any PPP loan that's under $150,000 to be considered grants, meaning that they will be automatically forgiven. Okay, but that doesn't mean that they cannot get audited because grants are still liable for terms and for audits. Okay, but if this gets approved, it'll help a lot of businesses, especially businesses that got the funds in the second round of PPP, because the average PPP loan on the second round is $114,000. So this will basically make the life a lot more easier for a lot of business owners. But let's see what happens with these changes. So once again, thank you. We keep praying for you. We keep praying for your business, that God bless you, that God protect you during these tough times. We always tell you to read Psalm 91 in the Bible. Has a lot of good promises for the people of God. If you want our help in any type of PPP loan process, this is our contact information. If you haven't applied for PPP, we are providing that as a service. Remember that you have until June 30th, so time is running out. Okay. And if you did get PPP, remember that eventually you are going to go through a PPP forgiveness application, and we can help you in that process as well. So thank you for your time. Remember to subscribe to our channel so you can always keep up with the most current information. I would really like if you would like this video. It'll help us show this video to a lot more people. Once again, God bless you and good night.